Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Megha Sharma. Now, for the past 1 month, we have been seeing that North India is choked to the point of being off the charts. India's capital now has a predictable crisis every single year. The immediate issue has now passed. Now, we have two options. Either to return to a comfortable slumber till October next year and then come back beating our chests, or to take action now. Let's choose not to forget. Let's choose to act. Those of you who are watching NewsX regularly know that we are part of a team India that is looking to solve great challenges. Have a look at these maps. Now let's not kid ourselves. Parali burning is the root cause of the smoke spike every year. Tens of thousands of hectares burn in a red swath across North India's landscape. The political paralysis, the buck passing on this issue has become untenable. It is based on the false assumption that the farmers, who are the first victims of smoke, don't want this change. We have to provide these alternative economic models. We need things that work, not the rain machines. Now, over the past month, NewsX has done some 50 hours of programming discussing these concrete, plausible solutions. We have tried to be the platform for the most comprehensive Parali burning action plans, from the cutting and baling machines to the cost of fuel, maintenance and the uses. We have had experts and done the math. We have shown you the financial incentive models from Haryana. Many of these exact issues have been raised by the Supreme Court as well. Now, if we don't stop the fires, we can't stop the smoke. But let's not stop right there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when the history is written of our times, let's record that 2023 was the peak year of pollution. That we as a country rose to the challenge, and every winter from here on, the pollution levels fell until they go back to the pre-2015 livable levels. Today, we are having the most comprehensive telecast on vehicular pollution. The EV tech is available now to at least reduce the localized pollution in Delhi. We are now dedicating the next 3 hours marathon for a bold electric vehicle push in the national capital. Delhi has led the way in banning unleaded petrol, in turning buses and autos to CNG, in the largest electric metro system. Diesel cars older than 10 years are banned. Petrol cars older than 15 years are also banned. We must now make a bold push to electric vehicles. Now here's the math. Delhi is looking to procure 8,000 EV buses to convert the public transport fleet to electric. So far, there are only 800 that are plying on the Delhi roads. We need to think big and aim at least 50%, which is 4,000 electric buses in Delhi by this time next year. That will cost 2.2 crores per bus, around 8,500 crores in total. Now, of the 80 lakh two-wheelers in Delhi, there are 2.8 lakh new ones which are bought every year. We must aim at least 50% of all these two-wheelers bought in Delhi to become electric, which is 1.4 lakh electric two-wheelers in the next 12 months. Now, of the approximately 40 lakh cars in Delhi, there are 6 lakh new cars that are bought every single year. We need to target at least 50% of these new cars that are sold to be electric by the same time next year. That is around 3 lakh more electric cars by October next year. And that's going to have to be aided by the charging infrastructure in the national capital. Now, there are about 2,500 charging stations that are currently running. The Delhi government is now targeting 18,000 of these charging stations. Now, in order to go cent% electric, we will need close to 80,000 charging stations in the near future. Now, let's at least expedite the 18,000 target within the next 12 months. Joining us today to discuss are the immediate stakeholders. Delhi's Transport Minister will be with us. The Senior Cabinet Minister Atishi is also going to be joining us. We have representatives from manufacturers like Tata and Volvo. We also have electric vehicles, which are two-wheeler manufacturers, the leading charging station companies, and India's first lithium battery making firm. So let's get started. Joining me on the telecast is Vivek Srivats. He is the head of marketing and sales and service strategy for Tata Passenger Electric Mobility Limited, which is the leading electric vehicle manufacturer in the country. It's good to have you, Mr. Srivatsa, on the telecast with us. And my first question to you, what do you think is the trend in the demand for the electric cars that you have noticed in the past years?
Yeah, obviously, thank you for the question. Electric cars are probably the fastest growing segment in the space. If you look at it as individual segment, it has grown faster than any other category in the country. I can give percentages, but percentages don't make sense when there are 3 times, 4 times, 5 times growth. But to give you a perspective, between FY21 and this year, there's been more than 6 times growth. That is almost close to 600% of growth. The first 10,000 units of the industry took about 44 months to achieve, and the last 50,000 actually was achieved in this 9 months. So 4.5 years for 10,000 sales, and now 50,000 achieved in 9 months for Tata Motors is a rapid growth. And since Tata Motors is the market leader, the same kind of growth is being experienced by the EV as a category itself. So lots to be optimistic about in terms of the growth of EVs, and we believe we are still just scratching the surface, and there's a lot more growth of the category to come in the years ahead.
All right, now how many electric cars have roughly been sold in Delhi already?
So we, in the month of September, we celebrated 100,000, that is 1 lakh electric cars sold by Tata Motors, and by now it will be close to 115,000, 1,15,000 electric cars on the road from Tata Motors.
Mr. Srivatsa, now what do you think are the major reasons for people in Delhi to switch to electric cars?
The first major reason for the majority of people has been the low cost of ownership. Running an electric car is probably 1/8 the cost of running a nice engine car, either petrol or diesel. So it gives a great economy of operation. But that is only the first step. Electric cars offer a very, very advanced driving experience. They are silent, they have great power, they have a lot of software-oriented features. So it is actually what we define as a digitized driving experience against a very mechanical drive experience of a traditional internal combustion engine car. Right. And the minute people start experiencing that level of digitized drive, it is impossible to go back to traditional cars. So it is an all-in-one package, I would say. Great power, high level of technology, absolute silence in terms of driving, low cost of ownership, much lower product issues as well, because you would have much lower components in the car, much faster serviceability. You don't have traditional engines. Most of it is software. So getting your car serviced is going to be much easier and quicker. So there are a variety of benefits which customers are discovering, and that is one of the reasons why the segment is growing so fast.
Now, are all electric cars only good for travel within the cities on a daily basis, or can we also look at long distance travel as well?
So for daily travel within the city is absolutely perfect, I would say. In fact, it is even easily better than any other option, because one is economy, but just the ease of driving. All electric cars are inherently automatic transmission, and because of the kind of silence and power they offer, they become very easy to drive in cities. But with the charging infrastructure growing, many customers are taking the electric cars on highways and between cities as well. Today we see most of our cars delivering well in excess of 300 kilometers range on a single charge. So it becomes quite possible to drive anything up to 300 kilometers in a single charge on highways. With charging infrastructure increasing, every day new chargers are coming up. If the planning is done well, EV can easily be used even for longer distances. We have many examples of people driving across the country, doing all in pan-India journeys on EVs. There are certain hotspots, for example, Mumbai, Pune, you have Delhi, Jaipur, or Delhi, Agra. You have a lot of the cities in Gujarat which are within 200 kilometers. In South, you have hubs like Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Bangalore to Chennai. All these are high traffic routes in which EVs are getting extremely popular because there are many people who travel between these pairs of cities for business and work purposes. And even the charging infrastructure is very well developed there. So customers experience economical and extremely comfortable drive between these cities. So while EVs are the best option, I would say, for drive within the city, more and more every day, more EVs are being driven on highways and different interior parts of the country. One of the points I'd like to highlight is that all our EVs are equipped with, are connected cars. So we know exactly how they are driven and where they go. And the data we have shows that when you superimpose the data we have on the India map, we see a very, very wide presence of EVs across the country, on the roads across the country. So what I'm saying is backed by genuine data in terms of how much EVs are traveled on the highways.
Now, how easy is it to install the charging infrastructure at home once you are able to purchase an electric car?
It is extremely easy because Tata Motors fortunately comes from the Tata Group, and we have Tata Universe created, which is a group of Tata companies which work together to provide solutions for customers. Tata Power, we all know, is one of the biggest power generation company in the country, and Tata Motors and Tata Power have got together to install chargers at customers' locations free of charge. Each and every car that we sell comes with a charger, and the minute the customer confirms purchase of the car, the charging teams gets into action and goes and fits the charger in customers' homes even before the car is delivered, so that from the first day onwards, the customer has a charging solution at home. We've put, like I said, we've sold more than 115,000 cars. Some of them are free, but we are very close to 100,000 personal cars delivered across the country, and each of them have been delivered with a home charging solution. So it is very tried and tested, and many customers across the country are using the home chargers in a very easy and effective manner.
What do you think are the major challenges before the electric vehicle manufacturing companies today?
See, in terms of challenges, it's a new technology. While more than 100,000 cars have been sold by us, and maybe the industry itself is about 150,000 or 140,000, I would say, it's still a small proportion compared to the overall car buying population. Since it's a new technology, customers are in a wait and watch situation. They want to see if they can trust the technology is going to develop further. So that is the main challenge. When we speak to our customers, they know that ultimately, sooner or later, they have to shift to electric. One of the points that we make is that customers know that it is no longer if they want to shift to electric, it is about when. That when is the question. Customers are a little bit on a wait and watch mode. I think with the kind of initiatives companies are taking, and also government in terms of charging infrastructure, and in certain states, government have been offering subsidies. This is only going to accelerate and build more confidence. The key, I would say, is to build better charging infrastructure so that customers are confident that they can take the car anywhere and they find a charger. Digitization of the ownership is very important. All EVs come with an app now, and finding a nearby charging station, taking charging bookings in advance, knowing if the charger is occupied or free. These kind of solutions are going to make the ownership experience much easier, and this is what will accelerate for the growth of EV adoption.
Is Tata Motors also working towards development of electric vehicle charging infrastructure in Delhi? And what do you think needs to be done rapidly in this regard?
Yeah, so we are working, like I said, we have a lot of customer insights because of our connected cars. We know exactly the driving behavior and charging behavior of our customers. We know which are the routes which are heavily frequented. We know how many times a day, how many times a week uh, customers charge their car. So these insights are shared with Tata Power, and we give them exactly details on which are the routes in which fast charging solutions have to be implemented. We are also working on society charging. While I spoke about home charging solutions, sometimes if there are 50 EVs in a society, it doesn't make sense to put 50 chargers. It is a overkill, I would say. Maybe 10 public chargers in the society might be good enough. So that is something we are working on with large societies, where we don't need to have a charger in every parking lot, but we making a common way of chargers so that it is more efficient and easy to use. Most of the time, otherwise, the charger is lying unused if it's in every parking lot. Whereas if you make common chargers in a society, the usage of chargers are much better. So these are some initiatives that we are taking.
Okay.
Your second question is about how to improve infrastructure. It is about a combination of government initiatives. I think government has to really push for charging infrastructure development. Having said that, a lot of private entrepreneurs, startups are getting into the charging space. Public sector, the oil companies, Bharat Petroleum, Indian Oil, Hindustan Petroleum are firmly getting into charging infrastructure because they already have fuel pumps on the highways. It's just about adding, and they have space already. They have power supply as well. It is only about fixing the charging infrastructure in their fuel pumps, and is going to provide them additional revenue for the future. So I think a combination of government push added to that, the startup infrastructure and PSU and the oil company interest in charging infrastructure is going to change the game in the coming few years.
Right. What do you think? How can the governments, both at the central level as well as the state level, encourage businesses to manufacture more and more electric vehicles?
I think manufacturing EVs first is to build a strong domestic demand. As long as there is good domestic demand, manufacturing locally will automatically be sustainable and make good business. So as governments build a lot of domestic demand, manufacturers will be encouraged to localize their manufacturing. So end of the day, a sustainable solution to local manufacturing is to create enough of local demand. And if there's enough of local demand, organizations and manufacturers will put in plants, and excess production capacity can be further exported out of the country, bringing in much needed foreign reserve. But the key is to develop a strong domestic demand, which can keep the factories running locally.
Mr. Srivatsa, now, how do you think the electric vehicle industry will add value to India's economy in the years to come?
Well, huge, actually, in many, many different ways. Firstly, the more we convert to EV, the import subsidy for importing fuel will come down. We are fairly getting strong in terms of power generation. In fact, as years go by, our power generation will become more and more green, meaning that we use idle electricity, we use wind or nuclear to develop our electric power, which are non-polluting sources. And we are fairly, I would say, adequate in terms of power generation. So the more cars become electrified, the less fuel we need to import from other countries, which is a big drain on the exchequer currently, because fuel is subsidized, like all of us know. Second is pollution. Pollution has a very wide impact. To begin with, it is on public health, and due to pollution, there are other costs involved in various sectors in manufacturing. Companies are having to invest a lot of money in removing pollutants from water, removing pollutants from the air, so that their products are clean. You know, a large, significantly big part of GDP is being lost due to the air pollution in the country. We also know that some of our almost 6 to 7 of our cities are in the top 10 of the world's largest, most polluted cities. And like I said earlier, huge impact on public health as well. So directly in terms of reducing the import subsidy, indirect impact on GDP, and tertiary improvement of public health due to reduction of pollution. These are the top line, I would say, benefits of electrification. But there are many more also, actually. Electric cars are much quieter. The noise levels in the city will come down.
Yes.
Electric cars are software on wheels. There will be a lot of software-oriented features. They are much easier to maintain. The service cycles are much lower. So the number of times the cars have to go to the service center and come back comes down. When you add all this up, the kind of benefits to the customer and to the country is very, very high.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vivek Srivats, the head of Marketing, Sales and Service Strategy, Tata Passenger Electric Mobility Limited, joining us on the telecast, sharing your views, giving us a lowdown on how the future of electric vehicles looks like. All right. Meanwhile, I will now introduce another important guest on the telecast, an important stakeholder in building infrastructure, making policy decisions to allow for turning Delhi electric. Joining me on the telecast is Kailash Gehlot. He is the Transport Minister of Delhi. It's good to have you, sir, on the telecast with us. My first question, how many electric buses are already plying on Delhi roads currently, and what is the Delhi government's plan for bringing in more electric buses, and what is the timeline for it?
So at the moment, more than 1,000 buses are running on, electric buses are on Delhi roads. If you remember, 400 buses were flagged off last month only, and 400 buses were flagged off some time back, and 200 buses we have inducted in last almost 2-3 weeks. So if you add up, this number becomes more than 1,000, and highest number of electric buses in any city at the moment is in Delhi.
Right. Is the Delhi government now going to phase out the CNG buses as well, as more and more electric buses ply on the roads? And how will this transition take place?
See, as in when electric buses are being inducted, obviously CNG buses and the CNG bus fleet will be retired and they will be off the roads. So our target is that by end of 2025, 80% of the entire bus fleet in Delhi should be electric.
Okay.
So thereby almost 8,000 electric buses will be on Delhi roads by end of 2025.
Now, is there a deadline and a target that has been set by the Delhi government for itself to make all public transport, at least the public transport in the capital region, into electric vehicle?
So by end of 2025, 80% of the electric bus fleet, will be electric, and only those buses, CNG buses, which were inducted maybe last year or maybe sometime in 19 or 20, will be on Delhi roads, and they will be also phased out as they complete their 10 years.
Right. Also the fact that encouraging the citizens is a tough task. It's a big challenge. How is the Delhi government going to do that so as to give an impetus to the residents, to the commuters to buy electric cars, to buy private vehicles that are electric?
I think results have been very interesting, very satisfying. 2020 we launched the Delhi electric vehicle policy, and we did a lot of advertising, a lot of educating people, and a lot of incentives, whether they are cash incentive or other incentives like parking or registration fees, free road tax has been exempted for electric vehicles. So similarly, even in the as we come out with the electric vehicle policy version 2, similar kind of incentives will be available in that policy also, and from time to time we will be trying to encourage more and more people to adopt more electric vehicles so that the pollution in Delhi reduces.
Okay. Another question is, every household in Delhi have an electric vehicle in the next 5 to 10 years. Is that an easy target to fulfill? How will Delhi government handle the increase in power consumption henceforth?
No, I think we need not worry about the power consumption because we have taken the right steps. The entire electric infrastructure, even in Delhi, more and more grids have been established, and we are in continuous consultation with the power department, and we have already flagged the issue with them that these number of buses would require this kind of electricity consumption, and as the Delhiites adopt more and more electric vehicles, so the consumption of power in Delhi will also go up. But I think there's nothing to worry. We are creating adequate number of charging stations and charging points in Delhi, and the power consumption or the power surge has been taken care of.
We would also be very interested to know how the Delhi government is working to build the EV charging infrastructure in the capital.
No, I think we have been continuously working on the charging infrastructure. If you remember, a lot of DTC properties we have identified and we have converted those into, in fact, the depot we are talking now. If you go outside, you see charging station outside this depot also. So similarly, we have identified a lot of DTC bus depots. The Delhi Transco Limited has floated a tender which was successful, and I think adequate number of charging points. If I'm not wrong, and if I have the correct data points, I think more than 6,000 charging points are already operational in Delhi. I think probably the highest in any city in the country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gehlot, for joining us on the telecast, giving us a timeline how the Delhi government is going to implement this very challenging EV infrastructure in Delhi. All right, joining me on the telecast right now is Pankaj Sharma. He is the co-founder and director of Log9 Materials. Log9 Materials provides a range of cutting-edge EV batteries and energy storage solutions. The company is based out of Bengaluru. It's good to have you, Pankaj Sharma, on the telecast with us. Quickly, a question from you about when did your company was founded? How long have you been providing energy storage solutions and EV battery solutions to the public? Okay, I will try to get back Pankaj Sharma from Log9 Materials shortly on the telecast with us. Meanwhile, there is Nimish Trivedi. He is the CEO and co-founder of EVera, which provides electric cab services. My first question to you, sir, is what can you tell us about EVera and its operations? Where all in the country do you operate?
So EVera is an app-based EV taxi service provider based out of Delhi NCR. So we have a split of our services in B2B and B2C. In B2C, we work at the Delhi airport. It's an app-based taxi service. You've got to schedule a ride from there. And one destination on the app has to be an airport. So that's on the B2C side that we are focused at Delhi airport. And on the B2B side, we do employee transport, business transport, and we also do some spot rentals on a need base only for these B2B clients. So that's the part of our services. One is that we have all our cars as lease cars. Secondly, we have our drivers who are in-house. So they are well-trained drivers, well-groomed. Also, we have our own charging stations and hubs. We currently have 2 charging stations and 2 hubs in Delhi to cater up the fleet that we have.
Okay.
We are coming up with a big charging station set up near the Delhi airport, which will have 200 charging stations as we are in the process of expanding. We've just recently ordered for another 200 cars from Tata. So we operate, all cars are operated out of Tata Tigor sedans, EVs.
Okay. All right. Now, again, a question that comes to one's mind is how many electric cabs does Evera operate in the Delhi region?
So we have about close to 250 charging cars.
Okay. Mr. Trivedi, do you see a surge in buying of electric cabs as well as usage of electric cabs during winters when pollution spikes?
I think there's an overall surge in the usage. Winters surely is one of the seasons when there will be a surge in the usage of EVs.
Okay.
And EVs overall have grown tremendously. If you really look at Delhi and NCR alone, is doing pretty well in terms of other states in terms of numbers.
Now, as per your estimate, if Delhi needs to shift completely to electric cabs, how many cabs are we looking at?
Now, if you really look at the current number, I may be speaking under correction because these numbers are not recently published, but we have a close to 300,000 cars requirement in Delhi NCR. So that's a lot of requirement that we have. So a transition to that number will take very aggressive plans and will need a lot of charging infrastructure and other related facilities to be built up. So I think to replace that completely is a little longer duration, say about 4 to 5 years from now, we should be looking at that.
Mr. Trivedi, what do you think are the other challenges that must be addressed at this point of time if Delhi really wants to have a complete shift to electric cabs, say by 2024? Is that even a possibility in such a short span of time?
By 2024, I think the government also doesn't have a 2024. We are all talking about 2030. But however, I think charging infra being the most imperative requirement when you are running cars on the streets. So I think there has to be an aggressive push from the government on charging infra itself. While we've seen a lot has happened, but there's still a lot of bigger need there.
So how do you see the charging infrastructure in Delhi? How many chargers should the government aim to set up if there is an electric shift with not just the cabs, but say 50% of all the vehicles, private and public in Delhi, if they want to shift to being electric?
With 50, I can just tell you, like currently we have close to about 2,500 charging points in Delhi NCR. And government is targeting at about 18,000 charging points by the end of next year. So with that number in mind, I can't really say that if, when you want to shift a 50% thing immediately, I think the numbers will almost be doubling up from there. So from 18,000, they should be looking at a 40,000 something like that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nimish Trivedi from Evera, which provides electric cab services, giving us a lowdown on how there needs to be electric vehicles and the infrastructure that is required for allowing more and more vehicles, public vehicles, cabs to ply on Delhi, which are electric. All right, on the telecast with me next is another guest. Do we have Pankaj Sharma now? The Log 9 materials? Okay. Joining me on the telecast right now is Ashish Deswal. He's the founder of EVthon EV. Ashish Deswal, very good to have you on the telecast. Welcome on NewsX. This is the NewsX EVthon that we are conducting, and you being a major part of the electric vehicle revolution in our country, if you could shed more light into what exactly does EVthon do? Where are you working towards in building the EV charging infrastructure in Delhi?
So when it comes to EV charging infrastructure in Delhi NCR, so we are among the very few companies who have presence across almost all the highways leading up to Delhi. And apart from that, we have our charging stations across all the major cities in NCR, be it Faridabad, Ghaziabad, Noida, Gurgaon, Sonipat. Apart from that, we also have our charging stations across all major districts of Delhi NCR.
Okay. Do you think that the current EV charging stations in Delhi really meet the needs of the current electric vehicles that are plying on Delhi roads?
So far, yes, because the number of vehicles when we talk about on the Delhi roads currently, the charging infrastructure, it's a chicken and egg problem, So the buyers get confidence, the buyers of EV vehicles get confidence. Once there are a lot of charges, they see them every day and they can, they know they can use them. So, as of now, I think the steps that the Delhi government has taken and, companies like us, we've been creating infrastructure across Delhi. So this has given a boost, and I think buyers are a lot more confident than they were 2-3 years ago. The EV charging stations definitely need to be a lot more. And I think that will give much more confidence to the EV buyers, and, that will actually promote them to buy vehicles because they know they can charge them anywhere and they don't have to worry about range anxiety and charging.
Mr. Deswal, how many EVthon EV charging stations have been set up so far? How many more are you hoping to be installed in the future?
So currently we have 250 plus charging stations across Delhi NCR and parts of northern India and eastern India. And our target is to achieve 10,000 charging stations by year 2027.
Okay. Now, assuming that we expect all homes in Delhi to have an electric vehicle in the near future, and all public transport as well as small trucks are electric in the next 5 to 10 years, how do we need to develop the EV charging infrastructure in the capital? How many EV charging stations are you looking at?
Well, the EV charging infra in the capital currently is actually going pretty okay. But, the need is to reach those pockets that do not have charging infrastructure right now. We have seen a lot of chargers across South Delhi, but when we talk about West Delhi and East Delhi, there is definitely a need for chargers in those pockets. Apart from that, the current chargers on the highways are very limited. So, highways is another aspect that needs to be worked upon. It requires a lot more chargers because then the EV users have confidence to actually go on from one city to the other. So definitely highway is one place that definitely needs to be looked at. And rest, West Delhi and East Delhi definitely need a lot more chargers than they have currently.
Okay. All right. Now, how crucial do you feel Delhi's EV charging infrastructure to encourage more citizens to switch to electric vehicles is?
So, having a robust charging infrastructure actually gives confidence to the buyers to, actually go ahead and buy vehicles. If we talk about 2019, 2018, when they were actually not many chargers. Then the buyers only could buy a EV car once they were sure that they can charge their vehicles at their home and they're not going to be traveling a lot. But now the scenario has changed, so a lot more chargers coming up. People are more confident, and if we keep pace, if we keep the same pace and go on developing the charging infrastructure with the current speed which you're seeing, I think that will give a lot more confidence to the buyers. And I think the current numbers that we have, it has to be at least 10 times to give real confidence to EV buyers, wherein even if they don't have home charging, they are confident that they can just charge on the go anywhere, and they don't have to worry about running out of battery juice.
Right. All right. Now, what according to you are the main challenges before the EV charging infrastructure companies in Delhi?
So, the major challenges that we are facing is, land is definitely an issue. So Delhi being the national capital, so the land is very tight, getting the right places, the right locations is definitely a challenge. Apart from that, getting the load connection, although the discom companies have been very helpful. In fact, we've tied up with almost all the major companies, discom companies in Delhi NCR, and they are facilitating. They have a special EV cell. They are facilitating the chargers. So so far, when we talk about Delhi, then definitely there has been a lot of support from the government, from the competent authorities. In fact, MCD has just come up with his land policy, and they've actually given land to a lot of charging players. So in fact, we've also participated in that. So I think on that front, there's a lot of support when we talk about Delhi. Although not entirely exactly the same story when we talk about the adjacent states. But Delhi, yes, it has been very receptive, the policy, and it has really helped evolve the sector overall.
Okay, now, do you feel that the government, both at the central level as well as the state level, been encouraging businesses such as yours to help India achieve its net zero emissions target? There have been a lot of, there has been a lot of push from center and the state government. So, if we talk about the famed subsidy policy, I think that has really helped buyers to actually go for EVs. And in fact, as I mentioned earlier too, that it's a chicken and egg problem. So, the EVs come first or the infrastructure come first. So I think the government has done a fantastic job on both the fronts. However, there are some challenges that still remain and that still need to be addressed. But all in all, I think the state and the center government have done fairly well promoting our sector, and I think a little more push, in getting connections, outside of Delhi will really help, and really help evolve the sector further. Okay. Now, an important query that arises is the fact that we have so many petrol pumps across Delhi. It just takes about 5 minutes to refill your car or any of your vehicles that you are driving. How crucial will fast charging stations be to support an all-electric Delhi?
So fast charging stations actually give the confidence to EV buyers that they can they don't have to worry about having their cars charged for longer periods of time. If the Delhi has a robust fast charging network, then they can just charge their vehicles any time, and they know that they're not going to be spending a lot of time. So once Delhi has a very fast EV charging network, robust charging network, then it is not always that everybody's going to go, juice up their cars to 100% level. So there might be possibilities, when you are going to a supermarket and you're going to be spending 20 minutes there. So you're just going to charge your car for 20 minutes and then maybe go to a restaurant to eat something, and then maybe charge your car for like 20-30 minutes there. So having a robust fast charging network will really accelerate the EV adoption. And then I think it will really be a game changer, because then the whole idea of actually going to a gas filling station to fuel up your car in case of EV, it is not going to be the same. So it'll be embedded into the whole ecosystem of supermarkets, malls, your shopping complexes, your restaurants. Every place we're gonna be having fast charging network, and you're just gonna be able to charge wherever you want to.
All right. Thank you, Ashish Deswal, for joining us on the telecast, and all the best to your company. May there be more policy changes that will allow for more and more EV stations to be set up, not just privately at the residences, but also as per the public infrastructure that needs to be built. All right. I also have with me another guest. His name is Hari Kiran. He's the co-founder and COO of eBikeGo, which is an electric bike and scooter manufacturer. Good to have you, sir, on the telecast with us. My first question, how has the demand for electric scooters changed in the past few years?
So, because the technology is evolving right now, so that's the reason why the demand for two-wheelers is already there in the industry. If you see petrol two-wheelers, they've been sold like almost 15 lakh vehicles per month. So because the technology is evolving right now, people are shifting to electric vehicles, and there's a good year-on-year growth that is there with good technology companies coming in place. So I think this is just a start with almost maybe 2% of the market share right now. But this would eventually grow to a really good number by next 2 years.
All right. Now, how many electric scooters have been sold in Delhi so far?
So right now we are yet to launch the vehicles that we sell. So till now we are in the business of electric two-wheeler rentals. So from January we'll be selling the vehicles.
All right. What, according to you, are the main reasons for people to switch to an electric scooter?
Because of the evolving technology is one thing. Obviously, they wanted to save cost in multiple fronts in terms of fuel. They wanted to have lower, lower total cost of ownership and many other things which are there. And obviously, people want to shift to a sustainable solution right now. So main advantage is cost, and maybe other thing follows.
All right. Now, in terms of when we talk about daily ease of usage and operation, how do electric scooters compare to the regular petrol and diesel scooters and two-wheelers that ply on roads?
Yeah. So in terms of daily use, it's like obviously the maintenance is pretty low, which is a major factor for any vehicle that is run on the road. Other than that, using it, obviously it is pretty similar to how a petrol scooter is operated. Obviously, some motorcycles do have gears in petrol vehicles, but this doesn't have any gear because it runs on battery. So to summarize it, because the maintenance is pretty low, it's like it's easy to use, basically.
Now, Mr. Hari Kiran, what needs to be done to make the EV charging infrastructure better in our country, and particularly in Delhi?
So it depends on multiple factors. For at least for the two-wheelers, if we can make the batteries accessible by giving them a swapping option so that people can charge it at their homes, and monitoring the batteries in such a way that with a really good technology, so that there is no incidence of fire or anything, and giving them the best batteries possible. So that is one way of getting out of it, and obviously setting up multiple charging stations by different OEMs, so that customers can access it near the place.
What, according to you, can the government do to encourage people to switch to electric scooters?
Maybe leverage this subsidy for maybe a good amount of time. That is one thing. Obviously, that is being switched to a couple of other schemes like PLA and everything. And second thing, pushing the manufacturers to manufacture good quality vehicles rather than just importing cheap stuff and assembling it in India, because that makes the customer is really losing trust because of the low quality vehicles that are there. So only pushing OEMs which actually manufacture high quality vehicles, that is a really key factor that is there in the industry. And maybe concentrating more on the infrastructure level, which I think the government is already on it. So yeah, these three factors are really key.
All right. Do you think both the central government and the state governments are encouraging businesses such as yours to help India achieve its net zero emissions?
So right now, obviously, as I told you, it's like there are a couple of subsidies for setting up plants, setting up infrastructure, also on the vehicle front. And government is bringing up good policies on state and central level, maybe to increase the EV adoption. So I think it's like within next 1 year also we can hear a couple of other policies that can encourage the whole industry. So I think PLI is one of the good schemes that government has brought in, and obviously for manufacturing side we have other things that are there.
Okay. How according to you, is the electric vehicle industry adding value to India's economy?
So obviously, because as I told you, it's like the two-wheeler consumption in India is really high, and people are purchasing petrol two-wheelers right now. So once the shift happens, it will contribute really good to the economy.
Now, how can India become the electric vehicle manufacturing hub of the globe?
India is always the best two-wheeler, manufacturer. I think one top two always in the world. So it has a very good potential to replicate the same thing in terms of EV as well. It's just that the volume is something which is missing, and that is causing the delay. So I think once we achieve a certain volume within next 2-3 years, seeing the growth pattern that is happening right now, we can really become one of the biggest EV manufacturing hub. So if we can just grab orders or grab interest from other countries, we can also export them so that the volume increases and we can become the biggest hub.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hari. Kiran, for joining us on the telecast, sharing your views.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.